Okay, so interview. You can start off by like saying who you are.
I'm Ali Bazzi. I play drums in Lemix J. Buckley, and I produce music under my own name.
Cool. What do you hope to accomplish with this interview?
I hope to help you get a good grade.
Haha. It's funny. Okay. What does it mean to you to be a musician?
I guess I'd say to be a musician to me means to be somebody who found his music.
I'm sorry, you're gonna have to say that again because you cut out.
I guess I'd say that to me, being a musician would mean to be a person who can perceive any sort of sound as music, whether it means just like hearing it and like having it be music to you, or listening to it and rearranging it.
Cool. Okay, so then who are you as a musician? Like, what are your like bands and groups, or like art, like music, art in general that you are currently a part of?
Well, I feel like for a while I associated myself with like punk rock and that whole thing, but as I've kind of grown up, I kind of realized that it's, especially in our day and age where we have the internet and we have like so many avenues of like listening to whatever music you possibly want to listen to, I guess I would consider myself just like a casual music listener, and I can like honestly say that I listen to all different kinds of music and appreciate all different kinds of music, and I hear the same thing in like all different kinds of music as well. And that's why it's kind of hard to cite musical influences.
Okay, well, what are your like bands and groups that you are like in right now? Like, what are you working on?
Oh wait, did I answer that question the wrong way?
No, you didn't.
Did I miss you? Oh, bands and group. Okay. Well, Lemix J. Buckley. It's just it's like a little punk band I'm working on. I play drums. What's cool about it is that I'm playing with musicians that I've been playing with since I like started playing with musicians. So there's like a really cool thing going on where we all just kind of understand like what we're all trying to express, and it just kind of works out for us, and that's what's cool about Lemix. That's what I would say special about Lemix. And other than that, I like to produce music. I produce music on my computer, all different kinds. I right now produce a lot of soundscapes and ambient type music.
I'll say that one more time.
Kind of avant-garde, weird.
Hang on, pause. Say that one last time because you cut out.
Which part?
The part about producing music and like what that is. Like the electronic production. What is that all?
Oh. Okay, so I produce music. I produce a lot of soundscape stuff. I produce some techno. I like to make beats. I basically just kind of, it's experimental for me. I guess I would consider myself an experimental electronic musician.
Cool. So what sort of instrumentation is involved with Lemix?
With Lemix, it's a really cool kind of like pair thing that we have going on, because we have a we're a 4-piece band, and we have like a melody harmony section, and then we have like a rhythm section.
Okay.
I know it's like a really common thing with a lot of bands, obviously, but like the way that we do it is our rhythm section we kind of do our own thing. And
what is the rhythm section composed of?
It's just a bass player and a drummer.
Okay.
And
you're the drummer.
And for the melodic section, we have 2 guitar players, and they both sing as well.
Cool. What are the names of the like people in your band? Like, who plays what instrument? I know them, but for the sake of the interview.
I play drums in my band. Brad plays bass. Brad Lockhart plays bass. Joshua Gill writes a lot of the songs and sings and plays the guitar, and Gage Welch also does the same.
Cool. How long have you been playing drums?
I've been playing drums since 5th grade. My mom kind of bribed me with a drum set, and I stuck to her bribe, and she got me a drum set, and I've been playing music since I was maybe 6, 7, or 8, like playing guitar, messing around on guitar, singing a little bit, but drums was by far the funnest, most easily expressive for me personally.
And how old are you now?
Now I'm 20, so I guess I've been playing drums for about 8, 9, 10 years.
It's crazy. Okay, so then, with all that time that you've spent with, drums in particular, what do you think your, relationship, could you describe your relationship to that instrument?
I guess everything that I do that has to do with being creative or art is kind of, seen through, the lens of rhythm. I don't really have a, particular ear for melody. I'm not great at that, but when I'm writing my own music, on my computer, I kind of escape having to be a really melodic person by just knowing I guess how to make people dance.
Cool.
Knowing rhythm.
Yeah. Okay. So in Lemix, what is your guys' writing approach? When you guys have a song idea, how do you expound on that and get it to its final product of a song?
Well, Josh or Gage will come to, Josh or Gage will be fiddling around with a riff or something, or a song idea, a skeleton, and he'll bring it to us, to me, Brad, and the 4 of us, and show us, and essentially we all just kind of do our own thing over it.
Just whatever that sound compels you to do.
Yeah, we kind of, I feel feed off of each other and kind of inspire each other a little bit, and this guitar, I kind of, for me personally, I because it's a very rhythmic guitar playing. It's not chordsy, I guess you could say. It's very one note. I mean, I guess a word that would be kind of a good describing word would be noodly. It's kind of twinkly and all over the place. And for me, I like to just kind of mouth the sound, the rhythm of the guitar that he makes, and sometimes that'll that will, I don't know, I lost my train of thought. Can we redo that part?
No, you're fine, because that's really cool, because we're actually learning in this class, we just got done learning about people in India, and they have their drum or whatever, but they've translated the sounds and rhythms into a full language. So
Yeah.
they can like recite that, but it's cool because you're like taking like other instruments and like making your own like language with it, and then turning that into like drums. So you're like translating like not even just the drum but other instruments. So that's really cool to me. That answered my question pretty well. Um, okay, so you guys just like continually like just inspire each other in the moment or whatever, and then you guys just like sync up pretty much, and then you like once you have like this like the sound that you guys want, you're just like, oh, we like that, like move on.
Yeah, we do that. Sometimes it takes molding and practice, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we got to try different things, obviously. But it's basically we just come up with stuff by just doing it,
Cool.
just kind of taking action, I guess.
For sure, for sure. Okay. So like you said, like taking action. So this is sort of like more of a personal like question that I want to know. I guess it has to do with the class a little less, but not really. So like, what do you think the importance of like intent is within your music?
I think it's very important. Um, with that being said, sometimes the intent is to be meaningless.
Okay.
And I think people like tend to confuse like meaning and intent because the intention is always there, or else I mean the action wouldn't be.
Right.
At least that's what I think. So I think sometimes we do things that just purely sound cool, and we don't always have like a ton of meaning behind what we do. And I like that, and I think like that's completely intentional.
For sure. Okay. So in Lemix, to start off with, what are you trying to accomplish as like that collective?
I think we're trying to accomplish like what we have already accomplished and been accomplishing, which would be
With
to
what?
kind of. I think our goal has always been to just make like beautiful sounding music, I guess.
Okay.
Just like, but I think we want to do it through our filter of influence, which is interesting because like I touched on the casual music listener thing, like. You know, there are people who play music who have all sorts of different, you know, influences within the same, like, movement and, like, genre of music. And they kind of, like, completely conform to that genre of music to the extent that, like, they're not being creative when they write rather than just rearranging somebody else's creativity.
Okay.
And what I think is interesting about Lemix is that our influence is like the shared influence in our band is like almost none. Like we really don't listen to like a lot of the same stuff like any of us. And while we all like listen to a lot of music, which I mean I believe is very important to do if you're trying to it's very important to have input if you're trying to output. But it's all really different. And I think that, you know, I think our goal is just to make something that doesn't have to have meaning and it's just kind of fun to do and listen to.
So back to the like to create like beautiful music real quick. What does like I mean you sort of touched on it with like what came after, but like what does like beautiful music mean to you, I guess?
I guess to me beautiful music, I mean beautiful music to me is music that like just is sonically appealing, I guess you could say. Like, you look at, like, a beautiful image and, like, you don't have to know what, like, the intention of, like, the painter or the photographer was. Like, you just look at it and it's like, wow.
It just communicates instantly. It just, like, it doesn't have to be very apparent. It's just very apparent.
Exactly. And I think that's kind of what we aim to do.
Okay.
Is just kind of do that sonically,
cool,
rather than visually.
Awesome. So, with your electronic music, I know we're not exactly supposed to, like, focus on it in this class because, like, for whatever reason, there's a reason. But I think it's important to touch on because of where music is headed in general and where society is headed in general, and that is electronic music is a big part of it in my belief, and I know your belief as well. So with your own, like, side music production there, what are you trying to accomplish with that? Because I know that's a very different thing.
I think that electronic music is very important in society. Like, I mean, electronic music is important to society today the way that hip-hop was important to society 20 years ago. And, like, the way that jazz was important to society, like, even before that. And I think what I'm trying to accomplish with my electronic music is more meaningful than what I'm trying to do with Lemix.
Big statement.
When you are coming together with 4 people who all have creative input and everybody has, like, a say in the songs that you, like, that we're writing, it's very difficult to come together with, like, a fluid concept of, like, you know, an idea or a thought or a story, even though it happens sometimes, which is really cool.
Yeah, I personally think it's really apparent in Lemix, like, stories, but I definitely know what you're saying, because your electronic music definitely has more of a specificity, I would say.
It's like, since it's just me doing it, like, I'm composing that, like, I guess my main goal with my electronic music, what I'm trying to accomplish is communication.
Communication?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would say, because it's just really easy for me to accurately express myself through that.
Okay. Cool. So now to a more overarching question. Why do you love music? I know it's really big, but, like, I think it's important.
I love music because, I mean, I'm paraphrasing somebody that I really admire, but I love music
who's the person?
I genuinely believe that everything everybody does that produces sound is music if you choose to perceive it that way. Another kind of paraphrase in that, you know, I'm the kind of person who is, like, very opposed to silence, in the sense that, like, I need constant stimulation. Like, I need to constantly be watching something or listening to something. And music, I mean, with 21st century composers like John Cage and Albert Lucier...
Is that who you were,
I was paraphrasing John Cage,
okay.
Yeah. They've kind of made it apparent that music is in anything that has sound. And, you know, if you really, like... You can't really do that with with many other art forms. I mean, it's just like... You can go... Just go out and, you know, to the street and, like, even with your phone, record the sound of traffic, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's somebody out there who would listen to that, and like it would be sonically pleasing to them. They would enjoy listening to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I love music because maybe it's just the way that my mind is molded, but it's everywhere for me, and I can't escape it. So I guess I just kind of have to love it, or else it'd be a really torturous
right
time on this planet for me.
That's funny. Okay, next. I guess, where are you hoping to see your music in the next 5 years or so? To start with, you can start with Lemix. Yeah.
Well, Lemix, we have some plans as of right now. In the next 5 years or so, I definitely see at least one full length. I mean, probably a full length, a couple splits, which are like, for people who don't know what splits are, it's like when you'll release like an album and it'll be one side will be one band and the other side will be a different band.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of easy and cheap to do, and it's easy to, what's the word I'm looking for? It's kind of a promotion tactic, I guess you could say. It's cool. Lemix, I definitely see a lot of touring in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it's the only way to do it. Like, when you're this kind of band, you have to go out on the road, and it's going to suck a little bit.
Yeah.
But, I could see Lemix finding a label. That would be cool. Next 5 years, to be honest, I don't know where Lemix will be. Just because we've been doing it for a long time. As far as the electronic music goes, in the next 5 years, I have a couple releases right now of my own. I'm in talks with a couple different labels, which is cool.
Cool.
All the releases are harsh noise releases, which, isn't a very, accessible style of music, and it's kind of easy to, float around on there. But next 5 years, I would definitely say on the road and recording and releasing music. That's where I see myself.
Cool. So where are you hoping to see music as a whole in 5 years? This is more of a sound thing, I guess, than destination.
I think music right now is at the very best that it's ever been.
That's a big thing. Why is that?
Well, I just want, the internet, really. There's no such thing as, a circle of influence anymore. Everybody is being influenced by everything. Mm-hmm. So, everything that comes out is, nothing else. And I personally only see it growing from here, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
As far as music in the next 5 years goes, besides that, I'd say I hope people start to understand electronic music a little bit better, just for the sake of all other kinds of music.
Uh-huh.
And I know that it's kind of a breakout, really popular trend right now, but really, people compare electronic musicians, and I know I just call them musicians, but they compare electronic musicians to traditional musicians, and that they're not really that. Electronic musicians are composers.
Cool.
Because electronic musicians work with a bunch of instruments, essentially. They are playing a bunch of different, whether it be a virtual studio instrument or a synthesizer, or whether they're sampling instruments, they're working with a multitude of instruments, and essentially players, which I guess would be the computer,
yeah,
or whatever means, to play what they write. So I guess in the next 5 years, I hope that people understand electronic music to the extent where they're no longer comparing it to like something that it isn't, and seeing it as something like as totally new and like fresh and never done before, while at the same time seeing it as something that's been done since the beginning of music.
Cool. I love that. Let's see. I guess, what is something that is, like, real in your life, like, an unexpected difficulty that you didn't really expect to be when you, like, quote-unquote, like, decided to be a musician?
One more time?
Like, what is an unexpected difficulty in your, like, process, or, like, anything in the realm of being a musician? Yeah.
Well, not living in a house anymore. I know that's kind of a silly thing. I grew up in a house, and that was the reason why I started playing drums, because I could play drums. Because like at that time I was kind of just playing whatever instrument I could play, and I wasn't really taking anything seriously because I was, a little kid. But when I moved out of my apartment, like my number one like vehicle for expression could no longer be drums, just because I couldn't play drums. I couldn't play drums in an apartment, obviously. So it's really cool how it worked out, because I wouldn't have started, trying to produce music if it weren't for that. I would be only focusing on drums.
Gotcha. Okay. I have two more questions, pretty much. One is for people who want to, like, do music, but may not be musically inclined. Like, what is your advice to them?
Okay, so I don't think there's somebody who isn't musically inclined. I think everybody's capable of music, which makes it really awesome. If you can count, you can play music. And I think somebody who isn't really musically inclined should really swallow rhythm theory before they, like, focus on melody or anything like that. And I think that is really what's important when it comes to learning how to play music. That would be my advice. My advice would be to learn rhythm.
Okay. And then this one I kind of want to end on, because it's sort of, like, very holistic, of, like, you, musicianship, everyone else, and, like, the world and the future, the present, etc., all these things. What do you think about, like, soundscape in the, like, now movement?
Soundscape in the now movement. My roommate walked in and distracted me. Can you re-ask?
Okay. Just, like, what do you think about, like, soundscape? I know that's something that's very, like, important to you. Like, the whole thing about traffic, like, you can record traffic.
Okay, gotcha, okay. I would say, personally, what's important about soundscape is people who can sit down and listen to soundscapes and, like, process and understand soundscapes can see music the way that I do. And I guess it would be kind of selfish personal thing, but it's like, I guess it's just an abstract look on it. Like, I mean, music has been done by the rules of theory and by, song structure, first, chorus, verse, the kitsch pop song formula. I think right now what's going on is a little bit bigger than that.
Okay.
And I think that soundscapes are important because they help you listen to things that aren't conventionally or traditionally considered music, and understand that. And, like, I don't know. I'm kind of fumbling on my words right now because I got distracted. So
That's okay.
can we cut this out and then re-ask the question?
Yeah, I can try that.
Okay. Are you gonna edit this at all?
Well, now I have to.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's easy to edit things on your iPhone, so don't worry. But okay, so soundscapes.
Well, okay, what's your like, because you're talking about it as like a thing that exists, like a product. So like what is like that to you? What is a soundscape?
A soundscape to me is any arrangement of sounds.
Okay, great. So like now go to what you started talking about like verse and chorus again, because I think that's cool.
Okay. So traditionally music has been structured in the sense that it's, chorus, verse, bridge, outro, whatever you want to call it. It's not all like that, but it generally has some sort of established structure. And what I like about soundscapes, and I guess there are different kinds of soundscapes. There are definitely structured soundscapes, and those are the ones that are like made through sound design. But like if you're listening to like a John Cage piece, or those are definitely structured. I guess it would, the importance of those would be to, it's kind of like using structure to make something completely unstructured. And if you pay attention to what's going on in art as a whole today, you're talking about right now.
Yeah.
I would say that's why soundscapes are important. They're the musical, sonic representation of where we are in culture.
Okay, great. Because that really sets me up for my like follow-up question to that one, which is where do you see, like, in this world that is like going global so quickly, where do you see like music culture like going? Because you said soundscape is very important for culture, but now like we're going to like super global. So where is that relationship to, like, okay, where do you think like music culture is going to be, both like for independent countries and the like globe?
Well, if you could just like explain a little bit more.
Yeah, I understand.
On the last question.
Just like talking about it from like your own music and what you hope to accomplish, and what is your part in this like new music culture that's evolving basically out of like just like the world in general?
I think my part personally would be to create music that everybody can appreciate and like everybody can appreciate and everybody can perceive as beautiful, that has no meaning.
Okay. Why no meaning?
And I think,
Why no meaning?
Because I think that would be the only way for everybody to appreciate it and to think that it's beautiful, is if it had no agreeable or disagreeable content.
So very neutral, matter of fact, like your world of music.
Yes.
So what I'm gathering is you're saying that you are creating your own independent Alex Bazzi music culture that's going to be put out into this now like global society of like musicians, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and everyone is doing the same thing and it's coming together to form this like thing?
Yes and no.
I feel
because if I create my own, music culture that is the same, like if everybody were to adhere to my own music culture and my own standards of music, then there would be no standard, and everybody would appreciate all music. And that's, I guess, what I'm kind of trying to accomplish. Yeah, that would be the yes in it. But am I trying to like kind of create like one style of music for everybody to enjoy? That's like the perfect style of music. No, I wouldn't say I'm doing that.
Good, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean that's.
I'm just trying to get everybody to enjoy as much music as possible.
Into what? Say that last sentence again. You cut out, so I didn't hear it.
I said I'm just trying to. Yeah, it's laggy. I said I'm trying to get everybody in the world to enjoy as much music as possible.
Cool. I think that is a solid ending.
Okay.
So, unless there's anything else that you'd like to get out.
Green Couch Worldwide coming at you, 2K15.
Cool. Alright. For sure. Signing off.